Out of the NFL, where the Raiders have made Tyler Linderbaum the highest paid center in NFL history. He has agreed to a 3-year, $81 million deal with Las Vegas. That's the latest from our own Jonathan Jones. Linderbaum has been named to the Pro Bowl in each of the past 3 seasons, missing just 2 starts over that stretch. Our Pete Prisco ranks him as the #1 free agent in the entire NFL this offseason. Linderbaum will join a Raiders team that holds that #1 overall pick in this year's draft. Jonathan Jones joining us now here on HQ. What can you tell us about this deal?
Jaw-dropping, Jenny. Jaw-dropping. We anticipated, and we had been telling you all that Tyler Linderbaum would shatter the record for the highest paid center in NFL history. It was held by Creed Humphrey at $18 million per year. And each passing day leading up to the start of free agency, the number kept creeping up and kept creeping up. And it sort of landed around $24 million as of yesterday. Today, Jenny, I got 2 texts from 2 independent sources who said Linderbaum is about to get a crazy number. I wrote back 24 ? They wrote back crazier than that. $27 million for an interior offensive lineman, for a center, is unheard of in the NFL. To go so high above what has already been set at the market, at the top of the market, unheard of in the NFL, okay? And so now the Raiders, they had drafted Jackson Powers-Johnson. It was a sort of a guard or a center. He played center this past season. He's now going back to guard. It's Linderbaum at center for the Raiders. He is going to be snapping to Fernando Mendoza in just a few months after they draft him #1 overall at the end of April. They're not trading the pick. Go ahead and get that out of your head, anybody. And they are remaking this offensive line there in Las Vegas with something that truly is popping eyes across the NFL. They knew he'd be somewhere at 24, 25, but $27 million per year, Jenny, that is crazy for Tyler Linderbaum.
That is absolutely crazy. But what does that tell you about what the Raiders are planning for this year? As you just mentioned, Fernando Mendoza expected to go #1 over to that team. What's the outlook now?
Yeah, great question. And here's why the Raiders could outbid teams like the Ravens, who did want to keep him, like the Washington Commanders, who did want him after parting ways with Tyler Biadasz, the Cleveland Browns, who were remaking their offensive line. No one could compete with that sort of price because the Raiders have nearly $100 million in cap space. Because over the past couple of years, the Raiders have not been spending up to the NFL and NFLPA mandated salary cap floor. And so when you part ways with Geno Smith and you part ways with Max Crosby, you actually literally are legally mandated that you have to pay people. And so they are going to overpay for Tyler Linderbaum. And remember, no one is overpaid. You're worth what the market says you're worth. You're worth what someone is willing to pay you. The Raiders willing to pay Tyler Linderbaum. So they will continue to add there. I could see them going after a running back. Yes, I know that they did draft Ashton Jeanty. They could absolutely still add a running back over there. They're going to continue adding on the defensive side. They have so much money to spend, and they have to spend it, Jenny. I don't know that the Raiders are going to compete for the playoffs in 2026, but they are going to be competing for other NFL records like most money spent in an NFL offseason.
Who would have thunk it? Jonathan Jones with the latest as we just have this breaking news. Tyler Linderbaum, now the highest paid center in NFL history. You take a look at Pete Prisco's top 100 NFL free agents. You see Tyler Linderbaum right there at the top, now with a 3-year, $81 million deal. He's going to the Raiders. Now on the back end, we are going to talk about this deal with our own Bryant McFadden. And you look at the numbers, JJ was just blown away. What are your initial thoughts?
I feel the same way. Job well done by the Raiders because they had the money, right? They have the most cap space out of any team in the National Football League. So you need to go out and make significant signings, guys that will instantly improve your team. And Tyler Linderbaum is that guy. Like you said, Jenny, our very own Pete Prisco had Tyler as the #1 free agent available on his board, and he was not wrong. He is a game changer. His ability to be impactful in the running game was felt throughout his tenure there in Baltimore, not to mention what he provides in pass pro as well. And those are 2 areas that the Raiders, they were below average, to say the least, last year in terms of running the football and throwing the football. So now when you talk about being able to draft Fernando Mendoza #1 and giving him a quality, a reliable center to build a relationship with will be huge. Not to mention last year's first-round pick in Ashton Genty, now having a proven commodity in the interior of the offensive line to be able to open up running lanes for him will be massive as well. The Raiders did a great job in making sure they paid what was deserving of Tyler. To be able to come to terms with this huge deal today was massive for the Raiders. Job well done.
Job well done for the Raiders, and you put the money aside in this one, and it is a lot of money. How does this change your outlook for this season in Las Vegas?
I mean, it's still a lot of work left to be done. Now, granted, having 2 first-round selections clearly makes you feel good about what they could do, knowing that they made a nice, significant signing already in terms of Linderbaum. Not to mention Teron Johnson. They brought him along, the nickelback from the Buffalo Bills as well. So they're doing some pretty nice things, and they still have a lot of cap space left to continue to improve their team. But starting in the interior is a necessity. Offensively, that was an Achilles heel for their team last year, right? They weren't productive in running the football, protecting the quarterback. Geno Smith was being harassed, play in and play out. Ashton Genty it was tough yards for him to get in terms of being positive. When you look at the injuries they sustained, they lost their left tackle in Colton Miller. They lost their best guard in Jackson Powers Johnson. One would think if all of those guys are healthy, along with including Linderbaum into that offensive line unit, yes, they should be a much improved group this upcoming season.
All right, BMAC, thanks for joining us here with this breaking news. It's been a busy day in the NFL, and it certainly will continue. We've got breaking news out of the NFL. The Saints are signing running back Travis Etienne. That's per multiple reports. He spent the past 4 years in Jacksonville, racking up just under 1,400 yards from scrimmage, 13 touchdowns last season. Etienne will now head back to his home state of Louisiana. Our Pete Prisco has him ranked as the number 28 overall free agent in this year's class for CBSSports.com. Speaking of Pete Prisco, he's here on the desk with us right now, along with Kyle Long. Your thoughts, Pete? We'll start with you with this move.
Look, the Saints want to get younger at that position. Kamara's not a kid anymore, so it makes sense to go get a back who can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's one of the things he does really well, is catch the ball out of the backfield. There were some concerns. Was he good enough between the tackles? That's not the strong suit of his game, but you get him involved with a young quarterback, get the ball to him out of the backfield. I think that's a smart move on the Saints' part.
And what have we seen in New Orleans over the course of the last decade? A running back who has gotten it done with scrimmage yards, not necessarily just rushing the football. I like the move. You got a young quarterback. He has an opportunity to build on the success he had last year. Put a guy like Etienne in there, immediate success.
And he's a pro's pro, by the way. He's a guy that works at it. And one of the things that was concerning about him going into last season was his ability to pick up the blitz. He got better at it. He was coached well on it, and I think he improved from that aspect, which will be big for a young quarterback in Tyler Sharp.
All right, you look at the Jags now. I mean, Etienne had over 1,000 rushing yards last season. Electric in the run and pass game. So what do the Jags need to do?
Well, Tutin's they're going to be their number one back, but I think keep an eye on them in the running back market. I think there's some veterans out there available, guys like Tyler Algier, guys like that. J.K. Dobbins, who had some injury issues last year for the Broncos. I think they'll add a veteran, but they could also draft the back. And Tutin is still going to be the primary lead running back. He's got that explosive ability. Now, he's got to stay on the field. He had some injuries last year, but I think that's the plan going forward, is to get Tutin to be the number one ball carrier.
And, they've got a guy by the name of Liam Cohen who's pretty fantastic at drawing up run schemes. Whoever it is they get at the running back position, expect Coach Cohen to maximize their potential.
Plus, LeQuinal is another back that they have who was a rookie last year and did some good things as well. So I don't think it's a major need, but they do need to get somebody else in there to go with those guys.
4 years, $52 million. What do you think about that for Etienne?
It's about the market right now.
That's fair.
That's 13. I mean, right? That's about the market. And we saw Kenneth Walker got 14, Etienne got 13. James Cook got, 12 last year. The running back market's getting some money. And personally, would I do it? No, but I understand why teams do it.
I just had to say I gave a little fist bump for Liam Cohen because UMass. So I just had to throw that out there. People are probably like, what is she doing?
He's fantastic.
Yeah. No,
he's done a really good job with that team. He's a good football coach.
Let's talk about another move that just went down, and this is what today is all about. It's going to be nonstop. The Titans signing former Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. That just went down. Pete, your thoughts?
This was one of those not a very well-kept secret, because everybody had him going there in large part because who's the new offensive coordinator? It's his old head coach. And so Brian Dable's there, and they like Wan'Dale Robinson. They need to get a threat, an intermediate threat in the middle of the field. And remember, when Neighbors went out last year, Robinson was the guy who took advantage of that, and that's why he's getting this contract to go to the Tennessee Titans. I think it makes sense from all areas. You got to get somebody who can be a guy who can do stuff in the middle of the field. They have some guys who can go, some young guys they like, but I think this makes sense from that standpoint. And you know Brian Dable is going to do everything to get him the football.
Go ahead, pull up those offensive again. Pull up those the last slide. This one's awesome. I like looking at Cam Ward, but the one that just read 30th, 31st, 30th. Just bring anybody, okay? Bring anybody down there to help Cam Ward. And Brian Dable is trying to get something started down there the right way. I like the move with Wan'Dale Robinson.
There was also breaking news earlier today. The